Every person on earth has a mother and a father. Your parents had parents. Their parents had parents. If you keep going back thousands, millions of years, eventually one terrifying question appears. Who were the first mom and dad? Were they Adam and Eve? Were they cave people? Or did humanity begin in a way almost nobody understands? The answer is stranger than any myth, because the first humans were never born overnight. Tonight, we're traveling hundreds of thousands of years into the past to uncover the greatest family mystery in human history. And by the end of this video, you'll discover that every person alive today is connected by a story far older than civilization itself. Imagine standing at the edge of time. Behind you are cities, kingdoms, the pyramids, the Roman Empire, the dinosaurs, and finally, a wild Africa unlike anything we know today. Now, ask yourself one simple question. Where did humanity actually begin? Most people imagine one man and one woman standing alone as the very first humans, but nature doesn't work that way. A wolf never suddenly gives birth to a dog. A monkey never suddenly gives birth to a human. Evolution is incredibly slow. Each generation looks almost identical to the one before it. Tiny changes over millions of years eventually create an entirely new species, which means there was never one single day when the first human suddenly appeared, and that changes everything. Now imagine traveling back, not thousands of years, but 300,000 years. The world looked nothing like today. There were no roads, no cities, no farms, no written language, only endless forests, open grasslands, towering mountains, and predators that could kill with a single attack. Somewhere in eastern Africa, a small group of humans gathered around a fire as the sun disappeared below the horizon. They weren't kings or queens. They didn't know they were making history. They were simply trying to survive until tomorrow. These people belonged to the earliest known population of Homo sapiens, our own species. A mother carefully held her newborn child close to her chest. A father stood nearby, watching the darkness, listening for lions, hyenas, and other predators. That night, they had no idea that their descendants would one day build skyscrapers, walk on the moon, or send messages across the planet in seconds. They were just another family, but they carried something extraordinary. Their children would survive. Their grandchildren would survive. Generation after generation, their bloodline would continue for hundreds of thousands of years until it reached you. Here's something almost unbelievable. If even one of your ancestors had failed to survive, if one child had never been born, if one family had disappeared, you would not exist today. Every single person alive is the result of an unbroken chain of successful parents stretching back through thousands of generations. Think about that for a moment. Your existence is one of the most unlikely events in history. But this still doesn't answer our biggest question. If these early families weren't the first, who came before them? To find that answer, we have to travel even farther back, to a world where humans didn't quite look human. Now we're traveling back, not 300,000 years, not 1 million years, but nearly 2 million years into the past. The earth feels familiar, yet completely different. The air is filled with strange sounds. Massive elephants roam the land. Giant cats wait silently in the tall grass. And walking across the African savanna is a creature unlike anything alive today. It isn't fully human, but it isn't an ape either. It stands upright. Its hands can grip and shape simple stone tools. Its brain is larger than its ancestors, allowing it to solve problems in new ways. These ancient relatives were part of a long family tree that eventually led to us. Here's the surprising part. There was never a magical moment when one species suddenly became another. Imagine taking thousands of photographs, one from every generation. Compare one photo to the next and they look almost identical. But compare the first photo with one taken hundreds of thousands of generations later. The difference is astonishing. That's how evolution works. Slow, silent, almost invisible. Every child looked almost exactly like their parents. Tiny changes accumulated over immense spans of time. There was no first baby human born to non-human parents. Instead, humanity emerged gradually, generation after generation. This is why scientists can't point to one man and one woman and say, these were the first humans. Humanity wasn't created in a single moment. It was written over millions of years. But there's another mystery that confuses almost everyone. Scientists often talk about mitochondrial Eve and Y-chromosomal Adam. Were they the first woman and first man? The answer is even more fascinating than you might expect. For years, you've probably heard two mysterious names: mitochondrial Eve, Y-chromosomal Adam. At first, they sound like the first woman and first man in history, but that's not what scientists mean. Let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions about human history. Imagine a village with thousands of people living in it. Every woman has children. Every man has children. As generations pass, some family lines eventually end because there are no daughters to continue one maternal line or no sons to continue one paternal line. After enough time, only one uninterrupted maternal line remains among all people alive today. The woman at the start of that surviving maternal line is what scientists call mitochondrial Eve. She wasn't the only woman alive. She wasn't the first woman. She lived alongside thousands of other people. The same idea applies to Y-chromosomal Adam. He wasn't the first man. He simply represents the most recent man whose Y chromosome was passed down through an unbroken line to living men today. Even more surprising, these two individuals probably didn't live at the same time. They almost certainly never met. They were separated by thousands of years. So, if they weren't the first humans, and they weren't a couple, what does this really tell us? It reveals something incredible. Every person on Earth today, no matter their country, language, or culture, is connected through countless shared ancestors. Go back far enough, and our family trees begin to overlap. The strangers you pass on the street, the people living on the other side of the planet, even those who speak different languages, are distant relatives in humanity's enormous family tree. The deeper we travel into the past, the more connected we become. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. We often focus on what makes us different, but history tells a different story. At the beginning, we were one family. The search for the first mom and dad doesn't end with one couple standing alone at the dawn of time. Instead, it reveals something even more extraordinary. Humanity wasn't born in a single moment. It emerged slowly over millions of years through countless families who loved, protected, and raised their children against impossible odds. Every mother who carried a child, every father who kept their family alive, every generation that survived made your existence possible. So the next time someone asks, who were the first mom and dad? The most honest answer is, there were no first parents, only an endless chain of families that gradually became human. And somewhere in that ancient chain begins a story of you. If you enjoyed uncovering one of history's greatest mysteries, subscribe for more ancient history and human evolution stories. Thanks for watching.